Hello, my name is Alicia Pitts, and today I'll be presenting a guide to project-based learning, problem-based. Project-based learning, or PBL, is a teaching strategy in which students learn by actively engaging in the world and personally meaningful projects. This method eliminates book work by encouraging and engaging students and meeting them on their level, developing strategies, knowledge, and creativity within themselves, engaging in weekly, monthly, and year-long projects based on real-world issues, and answering critical thinking questions, but all assignments align with the curriculum. PBL's mission focuses on developing students as a whole rather than focusing on standards within the curriculum. PBL strategy is for students to expand on the curriculum through this particular teaching method with their creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, and communication skills. Now, we're going to talk about how to implement PBL in the classroom. In general, PBL monitors and ensures students are taking care of business that is genuine to them or their work, meaning students are being faced with problems that are happening in their day-to-day life, in and outside the classroom. Even though this can seem a little unconventional, this method has been proven to be a positive learning environment in schools, especially for students struggling in a normal classroom environment, meaning our students with special disabilities or gifted students or even students who have trouble with anxiety can all benefit from a flexible PBL format. Implementing PBL in the classroom can seem very different from normal direct instruction. First, you start with a critical thinking question. This question should correlate to curriculum and be on the appropriate level of your students. Next, the research process. This is where the student applies and acquires knowledge by asking and answering supporting questions to the critical thinking question. Then, find a solution. Students are answering the critical question through models, activities, and projects. Finally, presenting the solutions. Students are making findings public, and teachers are ensuring students' voices are heard. At this point, you're probably asking yourself, why PBL? Why should I implement this into my classroom? We're going to take a closer look at the goals PBL has for students, some of the PBL benefits for students, and how they correlate. The first goal that PBL has for their students is flexible knowledge. This means that the student is receiving knowledge at their pace on their level according to curriculum. This causes students to benefit by being given a comfortable learning environment, career advancement, and a boost in self-esteem. The second goal is effective problem-solving skills. This means the student is building the skills to effectively problem solve in and out of the classroom. The benefits include, but aren't limited to, the encouragement and use of critical level thinking and problem solving skills within the professional community. The third goal is self-directed learning skills, meaning the student is independently in charge of their learning and they are building skills that help in facilitating independent learning. This benefits the child with deeper engagement and interaction within the curriculum, which you may not normally see in a normal classroom. The fourth goal is effective collaboration skills, meaning the child is learning how to effectively collaborate with whoever, whether it be a group project, a group production, or even a group activity. The student is constantly harvesting and maturing his or her collaboration skills. This benefits the child in their team collaboration and increases the student's potential for success. Lastly, the fifth goal of PBL is motivation to learn. With the help of PBL implemented in the classroom, the goal is for the student to become more motivated in learning on their own in the classroom and hopefully further their education in college or a trade school. This benefits the child because it increases engagement with the classroom and or home of student. Schools using PBL grow and nurture students to become entrepreneurs and leaders ready for today's world. Let's talk approaches to PBL. These approaches are different methods of project-based learning. You can use one, a couple at a time, or all at once, depending on the needs of your specific classroom environment. Starting with collaboration. Collaboration is the method involved with cooperating to accomplish and shared objective. Educator-student joint effort includes discussing, arranging, critical thinking together, utilizing proof and examination to direct choice making. Through collaboration, students have the potential chance to partake in one another's success. In PBL, the shared objective is constantly further developing student learning. With this in mind, a teacher may group students by level. While facilitating and making final decisions, the educator allows students to pick groups and subject matter of the upcoming projects. Then, developing expertise. Developing expertise means students are creating, developing, and editing a repertoire of ways at one's disposal for handling the task of learning, and then knowing how to choose and apply what is appropriate for one's repertoire. Students are learning to create portfolios, PowerPoints, digital stories, and much more to be able to use in real life. Future entrepreneurs, physicians, and even artists should have a repertoire of abilities to be able to use in their profession. Within PBL, students are constantly developing expertise through the use of real-world issues, group work, and projects. For example, instead of a simple chart, a student may make a 3D model to explain and show mastery over the 13 colonies. Next, culturally responsive instruction. Culturally responsive instruction is an understudy focused way to deal with showing in which the student's special social assets are recognized and supported to advance understudy accomplishment and a feeling of prosperity about the student's social addition to society. A few methodologies incorporate interacting and enacting children's earlier information, urge students to use their social and building associations with their peers, meaning students are using their cultural backgrounds individually with their families and then their communities to answer real world questions. Culturally responsive instruction in PBL can be seen in many different ways. The most common appropriate activities are where students are using personal or their peers' cultural background through curriculum. For instance, first grade students must understand families within their communities, so the student creates a digital story based on a Christian student visiting their friend who happens to be Muslim. Next, we will take a look at a student voice and leadership. But first, I'd like you to take a look at this image. This is a chart diagram showing student voice and choice PBL being implemented within the classroom. These are some of the certain aspects you can expect to see being used in a student voice and leadership classroom. Student voice and leadership occurs in a classroom when the educator surrenders the authority of the examples and ventures to students, permitting them to plan their own undertakings that show off their success in learning in exceptional and individual ways. Student decisions makes learning more private and adjusted guidance to a singular advantage and asset, meaning on particular projects and or assignments, you are giving students the chance to share their voice, share their opinions, and kind of take the leadership role on their own project. They're choosing how they want to answer the question and what ways the question should be answered and the examples needed to support their evidence finding the solution to the question. Student voice and leadership empowers obscene improvement in learning. The student's job is to clarify pressing issues, fabricate information, and decide a genuine answer for the issue introduced. Students should team up, growing their undivided attention abilities and expecting them to take part in student-centered discussions. So students are leading their own discussions, choosing their groups, choosing how they're going to answer the question, and how they'll present their findings. Then, academic disclosure. Academic disclosure is the particular style of correspondence utilized in the academic world. Scholastic talk includes how we adjust our correspondence when we take part in scholarly conversations. A few instances of scholarly correspondence are course readings, introductions, expositions, research articles, and lectures. Even though PBL uses student-led projects, there is still a need for academic disclosure. The educator is facilitating and supporting the learning development, so students use resources given by teachers, such as textbooks, articles, and lectures to create credible projects. Now, authentic problems. The authentic problem approach centers around complicated, poorly organized, and sensible issues that might prompt learning through real critical thinking. Authentic PBL implies students are taking care of business that is genuine to them, or the work straightforwardly affects or supports the world around them. This present reality incidentally might in any case be a school's learning environment. So students are given broad questions that help them elaborate on everyday problems within the classroom. They are to use their resources and find a solution to answer the critical thinking question. In PBL, students are given real world problems like famine, poverty, racism, and try to solve them through projects and activities. Students can choose from a wide range of templates such as Canva, foldables, and even movies. And lastly, authentic assessment. Authentic assessment is utilizing imaginative growth opportunities to test students' abilities and information in reasonable circumstances. True evaluation estimates the outcome in a manner that is pertinent to the abilities expected of them whenever they're completed their course. A student's portfolio is the one genuine evaluation model that is centered around more of the student's abilities and level rather than usual tests and exams. Portfolios are an assortment of one particular student's and their different learning strategies, objectives, and projects while showcasing development over time of the course. The portfolio serves as a guide for parents, administratives, and other teachers to be able to look back and see how the child has progressed over the course of the entire year. Have you ever seen the effects of PBL in a school? It is very common to hear positive feedback from participants. I did further research to find in 2014, nursing students and educators in the Department of Physiological Nursing and the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics, University of California in San Francisco, set out to examine, create, and analyze for PBL. For a 4-week period, the students participate in a controlled experiment where one half received normal and direct instruction, and the other participated in PBL. According to the article, in general, students believed PBL to be decently compelling in their opportunity for growth with a mean of 3.64. Few understudies showed that PBL instructional exercises were exhausting and whined about absence of commitment from educators and restricted resources. The meetings were translated and depended upon a subjective examination. The educators were in everyday positive to keep on working with the PBL program. They valued the nearer contact with the understudies. Troubles experienced involved an absence of agreement among the instructors, an absence of time for conversation and arranging during. Thank you so much for listening in on my guide to project-based learning, problem-based. Please feel free to leave a comment, question, or even challenge to any of the information or evidence I've given on project-based learning. And take a look at the literature and references that I left on the slides. Project-based learning, problem-based, was definitely a lot different than I thought it was. So thank you so much for listening and have a great day.